I want to make this video to somewhat respond to the claims that Hwoarang is busted or he lacks counterplay by showing a more specific approach to fighting against him using damage mitigation and option coverage. So most Hwoarangs, you'll see a situation like this at least once. Back two into the mid, which is a frame trap. If you step it, you can launch it. But if you step it, he's got two homing options that he can use to cover that and beat you for going for an immediate sidestep down forward two. So if this was the situation, just these three moves, down back or sidestep down forward two would be a 1 out of 3 coverage options, and so it's not what you want to go for. Instead, you could cover all three with a low risk, high reward on 2 out of the 3 options with the sidestep jab. So what that looks like is you'll get a jab punish on the mid. You can jab into backlash for a duck punish, and then also you'll be able to float the Dragon Lance for like 40 damage plus the wall, maybe 60. So if that's the situation you have, then that option beats most of his options without taking significant risk. So his other option would be something just like down back two and a down back two. Down back two has a really chunky hitbox, so when you try to sidestep jab it, it can clip you if you go to the left. And so knowing that, you have to be even cleaner with your sidestep, or more so just insinuate it if you want to go to the left because it has more tracking to the left. But if you call this move out that they're going for it twice, specifically because you know about it, you can clean sidestep it to the right for a back turn punish almost every time, right? And so he can cover the first two weaknesses, sidestep, left jab, but then the risk of that is even a larger punish into his like a back turn punish. So if I was to continue with that situation, the lows down back four and down 3-4 both track. So sidestep jab loses to these options, and so I wouldn't go for sidestep jab against Hwoarang if he's in heat specifically, because I don't want to die for down back four, because that raises the risk of sidestep jab specifically. The other option he might go for would be adjust frame skyrocket, but you can still beat that with the sidestep jab. A more hard counter option he could go for would be sidestep canceling into his left foot forward homing mid, which is 16 frames, and would beat the sidestep jab. And then he's got his other low, which tracks pretty well. If you try to sidestep, you can still sidewalk it. But playing against Hwoarang requires you to know the specific options. Like, you can't have a generic defensive approach. Like, you have to know that if I'm looking for this move or any of these moves, I can cover 6 out of the 8 with this. I can cover 3 out of the 8 with this, and I can not die for any of them, if that makes sense. So the only thing that sidestep jab really loses to in this situation is the down back two. If he does it twice and I don't sidestep it proper, but then if I call that out, I get a back turn punish. And so then the other option select, or high coverage option you can do against this situation, is sidestep left low parry into block. So like a fuzzy low parry out of sidestep. It'll cover most of the options, but you only get reward if you opt to try to punish with the while standing launcher on the mid whiff, and if you get the low parry on the low. But you also evade the just frame skyrocket as well. So it looks like that if you do the sidestep fuzzy right. And then you can still block the homing options from the situation. But then my favorite part of this situation is how it interacts with the lows. So if you sidestep low parry the down back 4, you'll get clipped sometimes going for this against down back 2 because it's so chunky. You have to step it clean. But let me see if I can get it. There we go. And then the low. When you do it against down back 4, you'll almost always get the low parry if you do the timing right. And when you do it against the other low, a lot of times it'll come out as a block, and so you'll be able to get a launch punish. So it's like you really have to understand these situations if you want to be good against the character. You can't rely on a generic approach, and so then from every situation you would want to know what your options actually are, because if you were to go for sidestep down 4-2 every time, you're gonna die most of the time. But sidestep jab beats a lot of options in this situation, and then sidestep down or sidestep low parry fuzzy guard works really good against most options. Like you don't die for it. Like you don't even lose to the just frame skyrocket. This is it. So and then it's like you would just apply the same philosophy to pretty much every situation. You have to know, like, on hit from certain situations, like this one, you can't step, you can't interact. So your main survival strategy is just do not engage, because he doesn't have any real options that can kill you from these lows. Like he has things that are annoying. You can go for that, but that's 27 damage at most. And then he lost most of his natural hit launchers out of stance, that, like, other than this one, but you wouldn't want to go for that, being that it's really punishable. Like that used to launch, and then he used to have a different version from Left Flamingo that would, I forgot what the interaction was on counter hit, but it was a little bit better than normal hit. But yeah, the new low specifically, just go ahead and redo this one. So like, let's say I wanted to be able to deal with this situation. I would lab out the most likely options that he'd go for, which would be the jab, the mid. Fuck, why did I do that? And then that mid. This low. I'll just go from there for now. So I know I can step that one option to the right pretty easily, even at minus 6. I can step to the left, but I get clipped a little bit more often. So I know that I want to step that one to the right if I can, but I can still step it to the left if I'm clean. Now I can step that to the right now pretty easily, even at -6. But I'll get clipped if I try to step it to the left. You'll probably sidewalk it to the left, but that's more committal against like the homing options. So I would probably not. Still step that to the right and to the left. And then I know that at this frame advantage, I can't step down 3-4. So I know if I want to option select it in any capacity, it's going to have to either be a dick jab, which will trade, or I'm going to have to go for a sidestep low parry. Because I'll be able to probably sidestep the first 3 options and then low parry the low. I'm a little bit worse at sidestep right, low parry. All right, just to demonstrate how you can still option select a lot of the character, and he's not something like Brian or Clive where you know the situations and you know that there's just nothing you can do. Like you have to know a lot to defend yourself against Hwoarang, but there's still a ton of a counterplay for specifically people that play the character or just I don't know. You probably just have to play the character to really know the weaknesses, or you have to go to the lab. Like you can't rely on sidestepping to his stomach every time and hoping that that's going to work if you don't know that you can't go for an immediate launcher from this situation, or you don't know that you can't go for your wall standing launcher from this situation. Like you really have to take all of his situations apart. But then once you do, you realize just how weak most of them are to 1 or 2 simple counterplay options. And it's like I can still die for trying this, but I can cover most of it at the same time if I'm good at doing the defensive option select. Yeah, that's it.